Decoding RFC 2231 headers. Trying to address this issue, I'm trying to wrap my head around the various functions in the Python standard library aimed at supporting RFC 2231. The main aim of that RFC appears to be threefold: allowing non-ASCII encoding in header parameters, noting the language of a given value, and allowing header parameters to span multiple lines. The email.util library provides several functions to deal with various aspects of this. As far as I can tell, they work as follows. Decode _RFC 2231 only splits the value of such a parameter into its parts, like this. Decode _params takes care of detecting RFC 2231 encoded parameters. It collects parts which belong together, and also decodes the URL encoded string to a byte sequence. This byte sequence, however, is then encoded as Latin 1. And all values are enclosed in quotation marks. Furthermore, there is some special handling for the first argument, which still has to be a tuple of 2 elements, but those 2 get passed to the result without modification. Collapse _RFC 2231 value can be used to convert this triple of encoding, language and byte sequence into a proper Unicode string. What has me confused, though, is the fact that if the input was such a triple, then the quotes will be carried over to the output. If, on the other hand, the input was a single quoted string, then these quotes will be removed. So it seems that in order to use all this machinery, I'd have to add yet another step to unquote the third element of any tuple I'd encounter. Is this true, or am I missing some point here? I had to figure out a lot of the above with help from the source code, since the docs are a bit vague on the details. I cannot imagine what could be the point behind the selective unquoting. Is there a point to it? What is the best reference on how to use these functions? The best I found so far is the email.message.message implementation. There, the process seems to be roughly the one outlined above, but every field gets unquoted via _unquotey value after the decode _params, and only get _filename and get _boundary collapse their values, all others return a tuple instead. I hope there is something more useful.
Currently the functions from email.utils are rarely used besides within email.message. Most users seem to prefer using email.message.message directly. There's even a somewhat old issue report on adding unit tests that would certainly be usable as examples to Python, even if I'm not sure on how it relates to email.util. A short example I found is this blog post which, however, doesn't contain more than one sentence and a few slicks of information about RFC 2231 parsing. The author notes, however, that many NTAs use RFC 2047 instead. Depending on your use case, that might also be an issue. Judging from the few examples I could find, I assume your way of parsing using email.util is the only way to go, even if the long list comprehension is somewhat ugly. Because of the lack of examples in some respect, it could be wise to write a new RFC 2231 parser, if you really need a better, maybe faster or more beautiful codebase. A new implementation could be based on existing implementations like the Dovecot RFC 2231 parser for compatibility reasons. You could even use the Dovecot unit test. As the C code seems quite complex to me, and since I can't find any Python implementation besides email.util and Python 2 backports of email.util, the task of porting to Python won't be easy. Note that Dovecot is LGPL licensed, which might be an issue in your project. I think the email.util RFC 2231 API has not been designed for easy standalone usage but more as a pile of utility methods for use in email.message.message.
Old question, but I could not find a complete answer that works on this. So this is what I ended up doing, on Python 2.7. For example,